Hello friends. Have you ever met someone so intuitively emotional, yet simultaneously sharp, precise, and almost obsessively committed to success that they leave you wondering, how can a dreamer also be so damn focused? Welcome to the world of those born under the zodiac sign Pisces, in the year of the rooster. A fascinating paradox, these individuals are a fusion of water and fire, emotion and precision, vision and realism. Think of them as mystics in suits, poets who never miss deadlines, and lovers who both give their soul and demand results. Sound intense? Oh, it absolutely is. Let's dive deep into the soul, ambition, and shadow of a Pisces rooster. Love, the soulmate seeker with a scorecard. When it comes to love, a Pisces rooster doesn't just want a relationship, they want an epic, emotionally transcendent, spiritually bonded experience that feels as if the universe itself whispered, "Yes, this is the one." This is not casual flirting or just looking for a +1 to weddings. For them, love is sacred, cinematic, and intricately layered. They believe in divine timing, soul connections, and magnetic chemistry that defies logic. But here's the twist. While their Pisces nature surrenders to dreaminess, fantasy, and heart-first decisions, the rooster within them sharpens the edges with critical thinking, protective instincts, and a near-obsessive pursuit of order. It's a heart meets head balancing act that keeps their love life intense, unpredictable, and unforgettable. They are the kind of people who fall deeply in love after a single, soul-penetrating conversation at 2 a.m., but they'll also analyze that conversation for subtle red flags. It's a strange, beautiful contradiction. They are emotionally open yet quietly evaluating. While their heart races from the excitement of connection, their inner rooster is already taking mental notes. Does this person listen? Are they consistent? Can they be trusted with my chaos and my dreams? Love, for the Pisces rooster, is both a surrender and a selection. They may be swept away by your scent or how you look at them across a crowded room, but they'll also be tracking how you treat the waiter, how you respond under pressure, and whether your words match your actions. Romance and reality coexist here like jazz and math, clashing sometimes, but when in harmony, it's genius. When they give their heart, they do so with full immersion. We're talking playlists that map out the emotional arc of your relationship, handwritten notes left in jacket pockets, spontaneous poetry sent via text, and meals cooked just because you said once that you love lemon in your pasta. This is not performative affection, it's sacred ritual. They love by knowing you deeply. They'll remember the name of your elementary school best friend and the exact way your eyes looked when you first opened up about your fears. Their love isn't loud, it's layered, intentional, and often quietly overwhelming. And they don't just love who you are now, they see who you can be and love that person too. They are your mirror and your muse. But betrayal changes everything. When the Pisces rooster feels emotionally violated, whether by dishonesty, inconsistency, or disloyalty, the warmth they poured into you turns ice cold. There's no blow-up, no screaming match. Just silence, distance, a slow emotional shutdown that you'll sense before you even understand what you did wrong. And unlike other signs, they don't always offer closure. You'll just find yourself on the outside, retracing your steps through their once open heart and wondering where you lost your key. Their silence isn't punishment, it's protection. They'll quietly take back their light to heal themselves, to reassemble what they so willingly gave. This constant inner tug of war, between the trusting, empathic Pisces and the guarded, logic-driven rooster, creates a love style that's both captivating and complex. Some days they're wide open, spilling dreams and craving your touch. Other days, they're distant, analytical, even suspicious. They may build invisible walls not because they doubt you, but because they doubt whether they can survive another heartbreak. To love a Pisces rooster is to understand that you're dealing with someone who has been hurt deeply before, and who now protects their love like a locked garden. The gate is heavy, but once opened, what blooms inside is otherworldly. They require time, sincerity, and emotional intelligence. Earn their trust, and you will never know a more loyal, nuanced, emotionally attuned kind of love. It's not easy, but it is absolutely worth it. Marriage, the sanctuary of structure and sentiment. For the Pisces rooster, marriage is not just a romantic milestone or a checkbox on society's adulting checklist. It's a deeply intentional, emotionally charged, and spiritually weighted life choice. When they commit to someone in this way, they are not merely signing a contract or exchanging vows. They are engaging in what feels like a sacred fusion of souls and futures. Their Piscean side yearns for emotional depth, for that soul-to-soul resonance that makes a marriage feel fated, while their Rooster energy demands a sense of order, purpose, and functionality within the union. They need both, the dream and the plan, romance and logistics, and if one of those pillars is missing, the entire foundation starts to tremble. Don't be surprised if a Pisces Rooster spends years imagining their future partner before they've even met them. The kind of love they want, the home they'll build together, the morning rituals and the deeper mission they'll share as a team. It's not just a fantasy, it's a strategy rooted in desire. They visualize not only the affection but the structure. They might picture candlelit dinners and soft conversations under stars, but they also fantasize about joint bank accounts, shared calendars, and mutual career support. And yes, they might agree to a barefoot wedding on a mountaintop or an impromptu elopement to some bohemian island, but you better believe they've already researched the permit requirements, packed extra batteries for the camera, and created a Google Doc to track guest allergies. Inside marriage, Pisces Roosters become deeply devoted partners, often to a fault. They are the emotional caretakers who will intuitively sense their spouse's stress levels before it's ever spoken aloud. They will modify their own routines, change their tone, make space for silence, all in service of keeping the emotional waters calm. This isn't passive submission, it's active nurturing. They have an uncanny ability to read between the lines, to interpret sighs as conversations, and to address emotional wounds before they fully open. But make no mistake, their loyalty is not blind. Reciprocity is critical. If their care isn't mirrored, if the effort feels one-sided, they may not explode in anger, but an invisible rift will begin to grow. Quietly, steadily, they'll pull back their energy, retreating into a protective emotional cave while trying to convince themselves that it's okay. They thrive in partnerships that respect the duality of their nature. They are both soft and strategic. While they crave emotional closeness and nightly pillow talks, they also require private space to think, dream, create, and reconnect with themselves. If a partner becomes overly clingy or fails to respect these inward retreats, a Pisces Rooster may begin to feel emotionally suffocated, a sensation they detest more than loneliness. They need to be seen, not just as a spouse, but as a whole being, one with shifting moods, complex thoughts, and ever-evolving inner landscapes. Give them that room, and they'll keep returning with love that's refreshed and renewed. A marriage to a Pisces Rooster feels like sharing life with someone who is both a poet and a project manager. They'll whisper love notes on your bad days, and also remind you to update your insurance paperwork. They'll plan anniversary surprises months in advance, but also know exactly when you need your favorite comfort meal without you ever saying a word. They are sensual without being performative, responsible without being rigid. Their unique fusion of structure and sentiment creates a deeply nourishing emotional environment, a kind of steady passion that doesn't burn out, but instead grows warmer, deeper, and more intricate with time. Long-term, the Pisces Rooster doesn't just want a marriage that works. They want one that evolves, transforms, and becomes a living, breathing entity of its own. They envision partnership as a kind of sacred garden, one that requires regular tending, mutual investment, and seasons of change. They will work hard, both emotionally and practically, to maintain the bond, but they expect their partner to show up with the same tools in hand. Their ideal marriage is filled with shared rituals, Saturday coffee runs, joint creative projects, personal growth plans, and mutual spiritual or intellectual exploration. They want a partner who's not afraid to go deep, to confront hard truths, to rewrite chapters when necessary. For them, love is not static. It's a continuous act of choosing each other, again and again, even when it's hard. Ultimately, the Pisces Rooster's concept of marriage is one of elevated unity. They don't want a roommate or a co-parent or even a lover alone. They want a co-architect of a meaningful life. Someone who can match their inner world, challenge their growth, and walk beside them through life's most poetic and pragmatic moments. It's not a fairy tale they want. It's a partnership that feels like fate but functions like a shared mission. And when they find that, they will pour every ounce of their being into it, not because they need to, but because they believe in it, deeply, fully, and forever. Sex, the art of emotional eruption. To understand a Pisces rooster in the realm of sex is to enter a world where passion is not just physical, it's psychological, emotional, and almost metaphysical. You might think you've experienced sensuality before, but until you've been with a Pisces rooster, you haven't truly known the kind that sets your mind on fire before your body even catches up. Their approach to intimacy is an intricate fusion of intensity and tenderness, wild abandon and calculated focus. Every touch has meaning, every kiss is deliberate. They aren't just there for gratification, they're there for communion. To them, sex is where souls meet, stories unfold, and energy transfers. It's an act that transcends desire and lands squarely in the realm of transformation. What sets them apart is their multi-layered seduction style. The physical aspect is just one thread in the tapestry. First, they seduce your mind, through deep, emotionally vulnerable conversations, shared creativity, or a connection that feels fated. They build anticipation not just with touches or words, but through emotional calibration. A lingering look across a crowded room, a compliment delivered with piercing sincerity, a casual brush of hands that somehow shakes the spine. These aren't accidents. The Pisces rooster knows how to read emotional atmospheres the way some people read novels, and they love writing their own pages in your body's memory. Their sexual energy isn't loud, but it's magnetic. It simmers, and when it finally surfaces, it erupts like something ancient and divine. Sex, for them, is spiritual symbiosis, a dance between two energies syncing up across unseen dimensions. They don't want to just be touched, they want to be felt. They don't want to just perform, they want to connect. They crave an experience where breathing patterns align, where silence feels louder than moans, where eye contact becomes its own language. The act must have meaning. That doesn't mean they can't enjoy wild or playful encounters, quite the opposite. But behind every playful moment is intention. Behind every adventurous position or slow caress is the question, are we fully present with each other? If the answer is yes, then the experience becomes something that lingers far beyond the moment, a memory that lives in the skin, in the mind, and sometimes even in dreams. Foreplay doesn't begin in the bedroom, it begins with attention. A Pisces rooster's sensuality is chronically anticipatory, a shared joke that makes you both laugh, a memory that gets revisited over dinner, the subtle way your voice changes when you're excited. These all become mental and emotional bookmarks for later. While you're brushing your teeth or working through your inbox, they might already be imagining the way your lips taste when you're distracted. By the time the bedroom is in sight, they've mentally choreographed 1,000 invisible dances, but they'll never let you see the script. Their greatest erotic skill is in making you feel like you're spontaneously discovering something ancient together, when in reality, they've been preparing for that exact moment all day. Their rooster nature brings an exquisite attention to detail into the bedroom. They're not just guessing what feels good, they're studying, tracking, and refining. They notice how your breath quickens when they shift pressure, how your back arches slightly when they whisper into your ear, how your energy pulses in certain places. They learn you like a subject they want to master. It's not about ego, it's about presence. The Pisces within adds mystery, depth, and fantasy. They may not always tell you what they want, they might not even know until the moment blooms, but their body speaks in poetic volumes. You'll read their desire in their exhale, their shift of rhythm, the way their fingertips pause or press. To them, sensual communication is more honest when it's wordless. Adventurousness is part of their bedroom philosophy, but not for the sake of novelty. They don't chase trends or kinks to impress. They'll explore with you not because they're thrill seekers, but because they are emotional explorers. When trust is deep and energy is mutual, they'll go to places most wouldn't dare. Role play? If it unlocks emotional fantasy, they're in. Blindfolds and silk ties? If it deepens vulnerability and sensory intimacy, yes. But the foundation must be solid. Without trust, they withdraw, becoming observers rather than participants. With trust, however, they become lovers who worship through instinct, adapt through empathy, and love through every molecule of their being. To be sexually involved with a Pisces rooster is to experience intimacy as alchemy. It's electric and raw, but also soulful and intentional. It's a space where time bends, where bodies hum in harmony, and where even the air feels different. It's not something you'll forget. In fact, it's not something you'll fully understand until long after it's over, when you're lying awake at night, still feeling their fingertips like echoes, wondering how someone made you feel so known without saying much at all. Friendship, the loyal dreamer who notices everything. Friendship, to a Pisces rooster, is never casual. It isn't just about grabbing coffee or making weekend plans. It's a deeply sacred bond, often treated with the kind of emotional depth and seriousness that others might reserve for romantic partnerships. For them, a friend isn't just someone they hang out with. It's someone they invest in, someone whose presence becomes part of their inner world. The Piscean heart opens wide when it feels safe, and the rooster mind steps in to protect that openness with careful discernment. What you get as a result is a friend who listens without interruption, remembers the little things you thought no one noticed, and holds space for your chaos without ever trying to fix you, unless, of course, you ask. They are intuitive comforters and perceptive truth-tellers, existing in a sweet spot between dreamy compassion and grounded loyalty. They are the type of friends who will notice the flicker in your smile and immediately ask what's wrong, not out of suspicion, but out of pure, soulful concern. You could mention in passing that you miss your childhood dog, and 3 months later, they'll show up with a handmade ornament of your old pet. They'll send you obscure memes that somehow reference a 3-year-old inside joke, or share a song that speaks directly to your current mood, without you having said a word. This isn't performance. This is how their brain works, constantly collecting data, emotionally tagging moments, and remembering things others discard. Their Pisces energy helps them feel the unsaid, while their rooster instinct keeps track of the specifics. They don't just care about you, they study you, not to manipulate, but to love you more accurately. While their emotional world is vast, they are selective with whom they truly let in. Thanks to their rooster's innate sense of standards and loyalty, they are not the type to have dozens of surface-level acquaintances. Popularity doesn't interest them, depth does. They prefer small, tightly woven circles of people who match their emotional intelligence and ethical values. If you're in that inner circle, congratulations. You've passed quiet and spoken tests of trust, sincerity, and emotional authenticity. And once you're in, they'll show up for you at 3 a.m., defend your name like it's their own, and sacrifice their time, energy, or even money if you truly need them. They're the friends who notice when you're burning out, who celebrate your tiny victories, who will literally schedule time just to remind you of your worth. Being part of their tribe is like being adopted into a fiercely protective, emotionally wise family. But with this high emotional investment comes a clear boundary line, one you do not want to cross. Loyalty, for the Pisces rooster, is not optional, it's sacred currency. They can forgive mistakes, but not duplicity. If you gossip behind their back, betray a private moment, or show disloyalty when they need you most, their reaction won't be explosive, it will be quiet. Cold, final. The same intuitive radar that drew them to you will guide them to let you go, and when they do, they rarely look back. There won't be dramatic fights or long explanations. You'll simply feel their absence. They'll shut the emotional door with grace, but also with finality. Their heart doesn't break easily, but when it does, it doesn't hand out second chances like candy. And yet, even in conflict, they are never cruel. Their corrections come from love, not superiority. To be friends with a Pisces rooster is to be gently, sometimes painfully seen. They'll call you out when you're being self-destructive, remind you of your worth when you forget, and urge you to grow when they see you shrinking to fit someone else's expectations. Their way of confronting isn't aggressive. It's caring, thoughtful, and often laced with a gentle wisdom that feels like it came from another life. You might not always agree with them, but you'll never doubt that their words come from a place of fierce love. And the beautiful thing? They expect, and even welcome, the same from you. They don't want yes friends. They want truth friends. The ones who will help them become better, softer, braver. In the end, to have a Pisces rooster as a friend is to feel truly known. To be loved not just for your best days, but for your worst ones. They'll sit with you in silence when you can't speak, make you laugh when you forgot how, and remind you of your light when all you see is shadow. They aren't just dreamers, they're anchors. The ones who hold your hand in the storm while quietly mapping the way back to shore. And while their friendship may not always be loud or obvious, it will be consistent, profound, and unwavering. The kind that doesn't just walk beside you, but quietly stitches itself into the story of your life. Business. The visionary with a planner. In the world of business, the Pisces rooster is a rare hybrid, a soul-driven visionary backed by razor-sharp practicality. Most people either dream or do. The Pisces rooster does both. They don't just imagine the future, they plot its architecture. The Pisces within them brings sweeping imagination, the ability to forecast trends based on gut feeling, and a deep, emotional understanding of people's motivations. The rooster brings structure, precision, and a methodical, even obsessive, approach to execution. The result? A powerhouse of creativity and discipline, capable of leading both hearts and numbers. They see a concept not just as an idea, but as a potential ecosystem, how it lives, breathes, and scales. What makes them uniquely successful in business is their dual processing mind. They think in both metaphors and spreadsheets. One part of their brain might be envisioning a revolutionary product experience or writing a compelling narrative for a brand. The other part is mapping the launch timeline, calculating margins, and triple-checking compliance regulations. They're the rare breed of entrepreneur who can talk customer psychology in the same breath as conversion analytics. While some drown in dreaminess or get stuck in micromanagement, the Pisces rooster toggles effortlessly between the abstract and the actionable. They thrive in spaces that allow for both, where innovation is encouraged, but goals are clearly tracked. In professional roles, Pisces roosters shine brightest in environments where emotional intelligence is currency. They are drawn to careers that involve intuition, insight, and impact, marketing, psychology, coaching, creative direction, brand strategy, UX design, social entrepreneurship. These aren't just jobs to them, they're missions. They want to create, but they also want their work to matter. They read the energy of a room better than most managers read data sheets, sensing when morale is slipping or when a client is holding back. They use this awareness to lead, persuade, and heal. And thanks to their rooster's meticulous standards, they don't just empathize, they execute. Their strength lies in intuitive troubleshooting. A Pisces rooster can walk into a meeting, read facial cues, pick up the mood, and sense where the disconnect lies, even when no one says it out loud. They have an uncanny sixth sense about systems, sensing inefficiencies before they become crises. The Pisces part understands people, what inspires them, what blocks them, what they fear. The rooster side dissects process, what's working, what's flawed, what needs a better structure. This makes them ideal mediators in conflict, agile decision makers in high-pressure moments, and indispensable leaders when a vision needs to be revived from chaos. When they're in charge, Pisces roosters are empathetic bosses with high expectations. They care deeply about their team's emotional health and will go out of their way to make sure employees feel supported. They'll remember birthdays, check in on personal struggles, and offer flexible solutions when life gets messy. But, and this is key, they will also expect excellence. Just because they care doesn't mean they'll lower the bar. In fact, they'll often push their team harder, believing in their potential more than the team believes in itself. You'll get genuine encouragement on Monday, and a hard reminder of your missed deadline on Tuesday. They see compassion and accountability not as opposites, but as inseparable pillars of growth. Where they struggle most is in extremes. A chaotic environment with no structure? It unravels them. A rigid, bureaucratic system with no room for imagination? It suffocates them. They need a flexible framework, room to ideate, but clarity on expectations. The best business environments for a Pisces rooster are ones where creativity is respected but not unchecked, and where leadership trusts them to deliver results without micromanagement. When given both freedom and responsibility, they don't just succeed, they innovate. They become loyalty-bound to the mission, pour their whole selves into the work, and often inspire others by simply being so emotionally present and so relentlessly on point. However, their greatest internal enemy is perfectionism. Because they feel everything and take responsibility for everything, Pisces roosters often put unbearable pressure on themselves to get everything right, emotionally, ethically, professionally. They'll redo projects, second-guess decisions, and burn the candle at both ends to avoid letting anyone down. Their standards are sky-high, not just for others but especially for themselves. This pursuit of perfection, combined with their natural empathy, can lead to emotional exhaustion and chronic burnout. They want every deliverable to shine, every client to feel seen, every team member to thrive, and that's a beautiful intention. But it's also unsustainable without learning boundaries and self-care. Ultimately, a Pisces rooster in business isn't just someone who gets the job done. They're someone who elevates the entire experience, from the vision to the vibe. They make others feel valued while pushing projects toward excellence. They blend heart and hustle, intuition and logic, creativity and clarity. They are the rare professionals who can speak to the numbers, the mission, the brand, and the human being, all in the same sentence. And when they find the right balance within themselves, when they master delegation and embrace imperfection as part of growth, there is virtually no limit to what they can build. Because for them, business isn't just business. It's art with intention, it's service with precision, it's a dream with a deadline, and they'll meet it with fire in their soul and a plan in their hand. Dark sides. The wounded idealist. Beneath the magnetic charm and dazzling duality of the Pisces rooster lies a complex emotional underworld, one rarely seen, but deeply felt. While they may appear composed, visionary, even enlightened on the outside, their interior world is often a battlefield between extremes. The Pisces side absorbs emotions like a sponge, not just their own, but everyone else's too. Add the rooster's inherent need for order, control, and perfection, and you get an internal tug of war that can quietly wreck their peace. This personality combination is often admired for its brilliance, empathy, and artistry, but it's also haunted by the weight of its own ideals. They are wounded idealists at their core, trying to live in a world that rarely lives up to their inner visions of how things should be. Emotional overwhelm is their constant shadow companion. Pisces energy is ruled by water, flowing, deep, and uncontrollable, while the rooster's essence is grounded in structure, timing, and discipline. When these two forces collide, it creates an internal pressure system that builds silently over time. On the outside, they might seem serene, capable, and even nurturing. But on the inside, they're often silently drowning in a flood of emotions they can't logically explain or quickly resolve. They'll try to manage the storm, organize it, label it, control it, but emotions don't follow spreadsheets. And so, many Pisces roosters suffer in silence, masking their inner chaos with overachievement, people-pleasing, or avoidance. Their mind says, "Keep it together," while their soul whispers, "I can't breathe." The tension can lead to shutdowns, breakdowns, or sudden withdrawals no one saw coming. When hurt, whether by betrayal, failure, or simply feeling unseen, Pisces roosters don't always explode. They evaporate, they vanish from conversations, relationships, and even their own creative pursuits. One day they're deeply involved, and the next, gone without a word. It's not vindictive, it's emotional survival. They retreat not to punish others, but to protect what's left of their inner world. Their disappearances are often misinterpreted as ghosting or coldness, but in truth, they're curling into themselves to heal, regroup, and make sense of pain that feels too big to share. Sometimes, they don't even know how to articulate what's wrong, only that something inside them has collapsed. They don't need you to chase them. They need you to understand that silence is how they process grief. And they'll come back when they're whole enough to speak again. One of their most persistent inner saboteurs is unrealistic expectations. not just for others, but especially for themselves. Pisces dreams in fairy tales, and the rooster sets alarm clocks to make those fairy tales happen. This blend creates a person who deeply believes in perfect love, flawless execution, and idealistic outcomes, even when reality proves otherwise. They expect partners to be endlessly romantic and intuitive, co-workers to meet their same level of dedication, and friends to read between every emotional line. They expect themselves to be emotionally available, professionally successful, aesthetically polished, and spiritually evolved, all at once. So when life or people fall short, disappointment hits like a betrayal. And unlike more grounded signs, the Pisces rooster doesn't just move on. They feel it, they ruminate, internalize, and start to wonder if the failure was somehow their fault. Under prolonged stress or repeated disappointment, their behavior can shift in subtle but powerful ways. The open-hearted Pisces begins to close off, while the disciplined rooster becomes rigid and hypercritical. They can become passive-aggressive, expressing resentment in indirect ways, sarcasm, emotional distancing, or guilt-laced commentary. If they feel undervalued, they won't always say it outright. Instead, they'll pull back their warmth, test your loyalty, or drop cryptic hints they hope you'll decode. At their worst, they can spiral into melancholy, that slow, sinking emotional fog where nothing feels worth doing, and everything feels vaguely like failure. This isn't laziness or drama, it's emotional exhaustion. They've carried too much, expected too much, and given too much without receiving the depth they needed in return. The salvation for a Pisces rooster lies in learning to voice their needs before the dam breaks. Because their emotional intelligence is so high, they often assume others can and should intuit their needs. But that's not fair, not to others, and not to themselves. They must learn to advocate for their boundaries, express when they're overwhelmed, and admit when they're hurt before it turns into retreat or resentment. Vulnerability is not weakness, it's their key to liberation. By speaking their truth instead of internalizing it, they release the pressure that builds between their dreamy ideals and their human reality. It's not easy for them, their rooster pride resists showing mess, and their Pisces fear worries they'll be too much. But when they practice self-expression with intention and care, their shadows become softer, more navigable, and far less destructive. Ultimately, the Pisces rooster's dark side isn't darkness for its own sake. It's the pain of someone trying to live purely in an often impure world. Their wounds come from loving too hard, hoping too high, and giving too deeply. Their sadness isn't bitterness, it's unprocessed beauty that never found a place to land. When they find safe spaces, healthy routines, and relationships that honor both their visionary light and emotional fragility, they don't just survive. They rise, and the same shadow that once drained them becomes a well of wisdom, empathy, and depth that sets them apart as one of the most quietly powerful forces you'll ever meet. Life goals, a legacy of meaning and mastery. For the Pisces rooster, life isn't something to simply get through. It's a canvas, a mission, a calling. They are allergic to the idea of a generic, pre-scripted existence. The thought of waking up each day to a job that drains their spirit or relationships that lack depth feels like spiritual decay. They're not built for the soul-numbing grind of mediocrity. They are here to create, to influence, to elevate. Deep within them is a persistent whisper, sometimes a scream, that says, make it count. Make it mean something. It's not about chasing fame or wealth, though those might come as byproducts. It's about crafting a life that leaves a meaningful footprint. They want their days to be fueled by purpose and guided by passion, otherwise, what's the point? Their ultimate dream isn't about a job title, a bank balance, or a status symbol, it's about impact. Whether they're in the arts, science, business, healing professions, or something entirely off the beaten path, they crave work that feels aligned with their soul. They want to wake up knowing their contributions matter, that what they're doing either heals, inspires, uplifts, or transforms someone else's life. They often seek roles where emotional intelligence meets strategy. A Pisces rooster might become a visionary CEO who runs a conscious company, a best-selling author who challenges societal norms, a spiritual counselor who guides people through personal darkness, or a designer whose work makes people feel deeply. They don't just want success, they want soulful success, the kind that leaves people talking long after they've left the room. One of the defining traits of a Pisces rooster is their identity as a truth seeker. These aren't surface-level thinkers or passive acceptors of the status quo. They want to understand, deeply, intimately, spiritually. That quest often draws them into the realms of philosophy, psychology, metaphysics, mysticism, and even the depths of human suffering. They want to know why we exist, what connects us, what motivates us, and what it really means to be alive. It's not a trend or aesthetic for them, it's embedded in their DNA. While others chase lifestyle, the Pisces rooster seeks substance. And this hunger for understanding fuels everything they do. It shapes their work, their relationships, their creative output, and even how they handle pain. They're not afraid to ask the uncomfortable questions, or to build a life around the answers they discover. Legacy is not a vague idea to them, it's a daily motivator. They think long-term, often obsessing over the mark they're going to leave behind. It's not enough to simply exist, they want to build something that lasts. A Pisces rooster may envision creating a family culture rooted in emotional intelligence, or writing a book that becomes a source of comfort for future generations. They might establish a business that outlives them, not just as a brand, but as a force of change in the world. Their ambitions often run deeper than personal fulfillment. They want to serve, to elevate others, to create something beautiful that continues to breathe long after they're gone. And they don't just dream about this, they work tirelessly, sometimes to the point of burnout. They sacrifice sleep, comfort, and even relationships to build what they believe in. Because for them, legacy isn't just an outcome, it's a responsibility. At the core of everything they chase, create, and imagine is one powerful, driving force: the desire to live beautifully, love profoundly, and leave something behind that matters. This is their North Star. Beauty, to them, isn't about aesthetics, it's about intention. It's how they speak, how they solve problems, how they approach joy and grief. They want to infuse every moment with meaning. They want to love in a way that heals, that transforms, that teaches others how deep an honest connection can be. And above all, they want their life, their body of work, their ideas, their relationships, to serve as evidence that one person can make the world softer, smarter, more conscious, and more inspired. They don't need to change everything. They just want to change something. And they will, quietly or boldly, slowly or suddenly. The Pisces rooster will leave a legacy that echoes, because their very nature demands it. So if you're a Pisces rooster, or lucky enough to know one, cherish this intricate soul. They're not easy, but they're extraordinary. A walking contradiction that somehow makes perfect sense. To know a Pisces rooster, or to be one, is to stand in the presence of a paradox so profound it almost feels mythical. These individuals are walking tension points between head and heart, logic and feeling, reality and imagination. They are deeply intuitive yet shockingly organized, dreamy yet hyper-competent, emotionally available yet fiercely self-contained. They'll make you laugh until your ribs ache, then go silent for hours because their inner world has pulled them inward. One moment they're drawing up a 5-year plan, the next they're lost in the folds of a childhood memory that surfaced from a song. They live in two worlds, the one that is and the one that could be. And somehow, they navigate both with grace, sometimes stumbling, yes, but always getting back up with purpose. Their life is not easy. Their mind is not quiet. But their presence, it's unforgettable. What makes them so complex, and so valuable, is the fact that they refuse to live in just one mode. A Pisces rooster can be a nurturing friend who knows exactly what to say when you're falling apart, and at the same time, the strategic mind behind a multi-million-dollar project. They can create art that breaks hearts and manage teams with clinical precision. They are capable of radical softness and unshakable discipline, often in the same conversation. This duality isn't something they perform, it's who they are. But that very duality also means they are often misunderstood. People see the calm and mistake it for indifference. They see the competence and miss the vulnerability. They assume the person who has it all together doesn't need help, when in fact, the Pisces Rooster is often carrying more than they let on. To truly appreciate them, you have to look beneath the surface. Because that's where the magic lives. Being close to a Pisces Rooster means living with someone who will challenge you, lovingly but relentlessly. They won't let you settle for the easy answer or stay small out of fear. They'll encourage your dreams, hold space for your breakdowns, and call out your self-sabotage when necessary. They don't offer fluffy friendship or shallow romance, they offer transformation. And while that's not always comfortable, it's profoundly rewarding. These are the people who remember your favorite book and why it mattered. Who show up when you don't ask. Who push you to be more honest, more courageous, more you. They will demand truth from you, because they've demanded it from themselves. And while they may have high expectations, they never ask anything they wouldn't give back tenfold. But let's be honest. Loving a Pisces Rooster, or living as one, isn't always smooth sailing. Their inner world is full of conflicting tides. They can be moody, elusive, overcommitted, or emotionally intense. They may withdraw without warning, driven by inner storms even they can't explain. They may hold others, and themselves, to impossible standards. They may expect poetry in a world that too often speaks in spreadsheets. But for every moment of confusion or conflict, they offer 100 more of clarity, brilliance, and deep, soul-level connection. They are not effortless, but they are worth the effort. Because when they love you deeply. When they show up, they do it fully. And when they believe in something, or someone, they become a force of unwavering loyalty and unstoppable purpose. And maybe, just maybe, they're exactly the kind of magic this world needs. Because the Pisces Rooster doesn't just live, they elevate. They turn jobs into callings, friendships into lifelines, and moments into meaning. They don't accept the world as it is, they imagine what it could be, then work to build it. Their dreams aren't passive, they are blueprints. Their empathy isn't weakness, it's strategy. Their complexity isn't confusion, it's depth. So if you are one, learn to trust both sides of yourself, the soft and the strong, the visionary and the planner. And if you're lucky enough to love one, don't try to simplify them. Hold space for the mystery, make room for the brilliance, and know that within their contradictions lies a rare kind of truth, the kind that doesn't just make sense, but makes everything feel a little more beautiful,